Tell me, what is the day or night to anyone who is mired in grief? A quote by William Blake. Today, we explore the critical role that sleep plays in our grief. I'm Jo McRogers, and I support grief through this YouTube channel and through my private therapy practice. My goal is for us to do grief differently because I have done it wrong in the past. So please be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications bell so you'll know every time we talk about grief. And welcome to our Grievolution community. Sleep deprivation. It is a recognized war crime. Science has demonstrated over and over again that there is a serious physical and mental harm caused by sleep deprivation. Implications of short-term and long-term effects of sleep loss include memory impairment, reduced capacity to concentrate, physical complaints such as headache and joint pain, hip ache and knee and back pain, hyperarousal, avoidance, irritability, depression-like symptoms, nightmares, feelings of shame and humiliation, post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms, incoherent speech, disorientation, hallucination, irritability, anger, delusions, and sometimes paranoia. People who suffer from chronic, untreated insomnia are 1.9 times more likely to become injured at work and 1.5 times more likely to become injured in general. Sleep is essential. Receiving less than 7 hours of sleep a night can increase the likelihood of medical conditions such as diabetes, heart conditions, obesity, and anxiety. In some cases, chronic insomnia may increase the risk of certain cancers due to the disruption of the circadian rhythm when we're not sleeping and changes to our immune systems and our hormones. Clearly, insomnia while grieving is a double jeopardy. If you are already feeling crappy and tired and distracted and anxious and teary and vulnerable, if you're having run-on thoughts, intrusive thought distortions, depression-like symptoms in the daylight, then it's very likely that each of these symptoms will worsen as the light of the day leaves us. Let's explore why this is true. In the night, there are fewer distractions. During the day, work errands, children, planning funerals, all of the instrumental work of loss keeps us occupied. This might keep our brain consumed and busy. Our brains are focused on doing, and at night, the being of grief can take over. Nighttime brings long hours of empty and unstructured time or tasks for our brains to then focus on the thoughts and the emotions of our grief. The nights may be actually more empty if you have lost your nighttime partner, your nighttime companion, if it is a spouse, if it is a child, if it is a roommate, a parent, a pet, or anyone else that you lived with, that you touched base with at the end of the day. If you have lost your nighttime companion, evenings and nights are going to highlight their absence. You have lost your end of the day touchstone, the one to share a meal with or a stroll with, the one who stole all the covers in your bed overnight. This can create a sense of never-ending loneliness. Grief in the dark is always more emotional. It is more isolating, it is more depressing, it is less manageable, it is quiet. And this invites in rumination, intrusive thoughts, the inability to reason with our thoughts and emotions. And with the hours of darkness and quiet that lie ahead of us, there is no natural pattern or interrupter. So the nighttime experience seems endless. Grief is a 24/7 experience, and then more. You're spent by the end of the day. You have carried our grief all day long in our emotions, in our denial, in our ability to get out of bed or to shower. By the time darkness rolls in, there just isn't any more bandwidth. There is not any more energy to meet this. So share in your thoughts below and offer some support. What has been your experience of long nights and not sleeping? So, tips. If your grief is worse at night, please consider pre-planning some evening and nighttime activities. I don't generally suggest staying busy as a positive strategy for grief, but honestly, spending some time busy as the nighttime approaches can fill some vulnerable hours. Try to imagine doing tasks that don't require a lot of emotions or awareness. Some things that you could do on autopilot. Do the dishes, sweep the floor, walk the dog, clean out the junk drawer. Next, follow the suggestions of good sleep hygiene. And I know that these are likely going to be really inaccessible, but try to go to bed and get up at the same time. Your body responds to predictability. Have no screens in your bedroom. Have no screens at least an hour before bedtime. Create a predictable, comfortable nighttime routine. Your brain needs to know that it's winding down. Avoid alcohol and caffeine. Don't go to bed too early, as tempting as that is. It can make for those many more challenging hours. Keep your substance use in check. It may appear to support numbing our emotions at first, but it does not support any sort of restorative sleep. Keep our social media in check, especially in the evenings. When we are grieving, social media holds, I think, 3 vulnerabilities. It holds 3 spells upon us. We do life by comparison. No one is as happy as I am. Life goes on for everyone else. That increases my sense of isolation, and there is nothing but sadness all around me, and this multiplies my depth of despair. It re-traumatizes me. So when grieving, consider a social media fast, or at least consider putting the triggering accounts on mute. You can always go in and out of them. Decide if the seemingly innocuous scrolling is problem solving or a problem generating for you. Make an anonymous, fake, uplifting account with what intrigues you. Squirrels, dogs, needlepoint, cooking, art, literature. Make it serve you. Please put some movement in your day. Walk around the block, walk around your backyard, walk the stairs in your home. Move your body knowing that it may need it in order to invite in tiredness and sleep come nighttime. I'm also a firm believer that trauma gets trapped in our bodies, and movement can address some of this. It can offer releases. Make a nighttime shower a goal. Warm water and a reset. See this as self-care. Use all of these suggestions as invitations to rest. Often massage is suggested as self-care, and I know that this can help, but please, I'm going to caution you to be careful about body work such as massage or acupuncture or osteo, chiro, etc. All of these treatments are very therapeutic and can be very helpful, but know that the timing is important. Please only engage in these treatments if you feel safe and that if you can anticipate emotional release as well. Try to create a sleep sanctuary. All of the sleep experts agree that the bedroom should be used only for sleeping and sex. Today we're talking about sleeping. If possible, set your thermostat at 65 to 68 degrees. Try rearranging your bedroom. This can invite in a new relationship with the room and with sleep. Sleep in another room if you have lost your partner. Associate the room with sleep only if you have the luxury of choice, of course. Please don't spend hours lying awake in bed, as this normalizes not sleeping in this space. Consider doing a brain dump. Writing down what's on your brain, all the things you need to take care of, all the things you need to track. It can help you feel that you don't need to hold them in your head if you're able to write them down. Now, it's important to play with this in terms of timing. Some people need to do this at night and other people need to do this in the morning. Please experiment. Either time gives you permission to release some of what you're holding, the important, the sacred, the meaningful. Write it down, because this helps to externalize our thoughts and our emotions. We no longer need to hold it in our head. Be sure to try this long before you are attempting to go to sleep if you do this in the evening. During the daytime, do frequent check-ins in terms of where am I at emotionally. This can lessen the depth of the rabbit hole that's waiting for nighttime. Ask yourself, how am I managing my morning? How am I managing my afternoon? And try making it scalable from 1 to 10, from awful to surviving. You can consider sleep aids from your doctor. You can consider natural sleep aids, such as my favorite, which is the Sleep Rescue Remedy. One of the other things I've experimented with is a weighted blanket. Benefits of the weighted blankets: they create a therapeutic technique called pressure stimulation. This uses a firm, controlled, consistent pressure to stimulate a feeling of calmness. It brings comfort and security. These blankets can stimulate the production of a mood-boosting hormone, which is serotonin. It can reduce the stress hormone coursing through us when we're grieving, called cortisol, and it can increase naturally the levels of melatonin, the hormone that helps us sleep. A weighted blanket, however, may be unsuitable for people with certain medical conditions. In order to safely use a weighted blanket, you need to be able to physically move or remove the blanket when it's on you. And there are blankets that are also made appropriate for the weight of children. Another thing to try is hand acupressure for sleep. Imagine placing your finger on your wrist, where your wrist creases intersect with the line that fall between your ring finger and your pinky finger. This spot is actually called the spirit gate, which is sort of appropriately named for grief work and insomnia. Imagine that you're gently massaging and placing pressure on this spot for 60 seconds, and then you can switch to the other wrist. This spot is believed to naturally produce some melatonin as it stimulates the pineal gland in our brains. Of course, the proviso is to always ask your healthcare provider if there are any contradictions for you to try this. This is not to be used if you are pregnant, but it is a simple, quick, and accessible tool to try while lying in bed and inviting in sleep. Each of these actions also serve as reminders to our head and our heart of what we can have power, control, and influence over. This is so necessary to meet the sense of no power, no control, and no influence that grief brings us. Awful nights then lead to awful evenings as we anticipate not sleeping. And this then backs it up even further to awful afternoons as the time frame of our anxiety widens when we are anticipating yet another long, sad evening and a night filled without sleep. Doing all we can to address how hard grief hits at night is so important. What tips or support can you offer to one another in the comments below so we can all learn together? In my next video, I'm going to share my own creation of a sleep routine that utilizes actions, words, breath work, and the power of our vagus nerve to help regulate and invite in the possibility of sleep. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so that you know when I post this next. I've been developing and experimenting and practicing with this for several weeks now, so I would really look forward to your feedback. So, as you engage in trying to meet your evenings and nights filled with grief, I send you kind thoughts, kind words, and a kind heart. And if this video has been helpful, please like it and share so that YouTube will know to promote it to all the grievers out there that are losing sleep and feeling alone. Thank you and take good care.